So HeartBeam has just posted a new press release, a very important one. And well, that's what we're going to cover in this video. As you know, HeartBeam is a position of mine. This stock is listed on the Nasdaq, ticker BEAT, and my average price here stands at around $1, as you can see. But anyway, before we begin, as always, nothing in this video is investment advice, okay? And with that said, let's get started. So here, HeartBeam awarded new US patent expanding acoustic sensing and fluid monitoring capabilities of its cable-free ECG device. Patent extends HeartBeam's ECG hardware platform with multimodal sensing capabilities. Acoustic sensors enable HeartBeam's device to function as a digital stethoscope to assess heart valve function. Thoracic impedance capability opens the door to heart failure monitoring without a surgical procedure, and we'll soon understand that. And lastly, HeartBeam now holds 26 issued patents worldwide, reflecting continued investment in building a durable IP moat around its platform. So let's go through this press release. Let's better understand this. But as we can already see here, HeartBeam is expanding its hardware capabilities even further. But okay, so HeartBeam, a medical technology company focused on transforming cardiac care by providing powerful cardiac insights, today announced the allowance of a new US patent that significantly expands the capabilities of its credit card-sized, cable-free ECG device. The patent covers the integration of acoustic sensing and thoracic impedance measurement into the existing ECG hardware platform, supporting future applications in structural heart disease and heart failure monitoring. Okay, so what's happening here, right? So HeartBeam is now adding some new features to its hardware. It is now adding acoustic sensors, for example, so that their device can function as a high-tech digital stethoscope. Now, why is that important? Because, as you know, HeartBeam's device currently works as an ECG, right? As an electrocardiogram. The problem is that an ECG relies on electrical signals, and electrical signals don't tell the whole story. In other words, there are many heart conditions you cannot identify just by looking at an ECG. Heart sounds, however, can reveal many of those problems. For example, if a heart valve isn't closing properly, it produces a specific sound. If the heart is also struggling to pump blood, it can also produce a specific sound as well. So in other words, listening to the heart is crucial for monitoring it. And with these new acoustic sensors, HeartBeam will be able to do just that, monitor the heart through sound, which will open a series of possibilities for HeartBeam, greatly expanding the potential applications of their technology. But okay, so that's it regarding the acoustic sensors mentioned. However, HeartBeam has also mentioned this too, thoracic impedance measurement. So, in addition to the acoustic sensors, HeartBeam is also adding impedance sensing capabilities to its device as well. Now again, why is that important, right? Because you see, when the heart stops functioning properly, it gets weaker, right? Obviously. And because of that, it starts to fail at pumping blood out with enough force, which of course causes the blood to start backing up or pooling in the veins leading to the lungs. Terrible, right? So as a consequence, fluid starts to leak out of the veins, going into the lungs. And that's obviously very serious. And because of this, the patient starts to experience shortness of breath, fatigue, etc. And well, over time, this condition becomes more serious and the patient ends up in the emergency room at the hospital. Now, how does adding impedance sensors to HeartBeam's device help in that situation? Because this way, it becomes possible to identify this problem early. But how? You see, electricity passes differently through different materials. For example, a healthy lung full of air offers high resistance to the passage of electricity, right? After all, air is a poor conductor of electricity. On the other hand, a lung filled with fluid offers less resistance to the passage of electricity. In other words, a lung with fluid, that is, an unhealthy lung, ends up conducting electricity much better. After all, we all know electricity does travel well through water, right? Through liquid. So that's how HeartBeam plans to identify heart failure cases with this new impedance sensor. And in my opinion, that's a massive new capability for HeartBeam's technology. But okay, let's continue reading our press release. The patent also covers thoracic impedance measurement. That is, the ability to inject a small, imperceptible current through the device's finger electrodes and measure the resulting voltage across the chest electrodes to assess how much fluid is present in the chest. Crazy. HeartBeam's patent protects this capability in the company's portable patient-operated device. Unlike wrist or finger-worn wearables, HeartBeam's device is used at the chest, the anatomically relevant location for both heart sound and thoracic impedance measurement. The allowed patent claims protect this capability as built into HeartBeam's device, positioning the platform where these signals are physiologically accessible. Heart failure affects nearly 6.7 million adults in the US. So here's the addressable market for this new capability, for these new sensors. Costs an estimated $30,000 per patient annually and is one of the leading causes of hospitalization. So $30,000 per patient. $30,000. Well, I prefer to pay $700, $1,000 annually for HeartBeam's device. One of the biggest challenges is that patients accumulate fluid over days before symptoms become severe enough to prompt a hospital visit. Earlier detection of fluid buildup could enable physicians to intervene with diuretics or medication adjustments before hospitalization becomes necessary, improving patient outcomes while reducing healthcare costs. So huge advantages here, right? So in other words, now with HeartBeam's device, it will become much easier to identify cases of heart failure. It will become much simpler, cheaper, and safer. After all, instead of discovering their condition only after ending up in the hospital when things have already become serious, patients will now be able to detect it much earlier and begin treatment. For example, with diuretics, while everything is still in early stages. So, great news. Now moving on, continuous fluid monitoring remains a major challenge in heart failure care, said John Jeffries. While implantable pulmonary artery pressure sensors and implanted defibrillators with impedance sensing, very hard words here, may be effective, they require procedures that many patients cannot or will not undergo. And I promise you will soon understand this. A non-invasive, patient-operated approach to thoracic impedance measurement could broaden access to meaningful home monitoring for a much larger population of heart failure patients. HeartBeam's work in this area is an encouraging step toward more accessible monitoring. But okay, now, what does this mean, right? Implantable pulmonary artery pressure sensors and implanted defibrillators with impedance sensing. What does this mean? So let's break this down. You see, the main way to monitor heart failure is either going to the doctor for routine checkups, imaging tests, etc., which, well, requires you to go to the doctor, right? Obviously, that's not something you can do at home. So you can monitor your heart by simply going to the doctor, okay? Or you can monitor heart failure risk through another method called pulmonary artery pressure monitoring, which literally consists of inserting a small sensor inside your pulmonary artery, that's crazy, which will stay there forever, monitoring you. And believe it or not, that's actually the best way to monitor this cardiac risk. The problem is that even though this method is precise and offers constant monitoring, the issue is that it is very invasive, and not everyone can or wants to undergo surgery to put a sensor inside their artery, right? So that is why here in this part of the press release, they're talking about artery pressure sensors, for example. I think that's clear now, right? So these are the two current main methods to monitor heart failure. However, HeartBeam is now bringing a new option to the table. So now we have a new way of monitoring heart failure risk in a non-invasive, yet precise and constant way. After all, as we've seen, HeartBeam's device is now expanding its capabilities, right? They're now adding impedance sensors on their device, which will allow people to monitor heart failure risk just by placing HeartBeam's credit card-sized device on their chest. As we've seen, the company has just awarded this new patent, though we still don't have the FDA's approval for this new use yet. But one step at a time. Okay, so moving on, heart failure is one of the most costly and devastating conditions in cardiovascular medicine, and one of the hardest to manage because fluid builds up silently over days before a crisis occurs. This patent not only deepens our IP foundation, but also advances our strategy of building a multimodal ambulatory cardiac sensing platform. The ability to detect fluid congestion and assess heart valve function from the same credit card-sized device patients already use for ECG rhythm monitoring may support future reimbursement pathways and broader clinical adoption. I'm actually pretty sure these new capabilities will accelerate adoption. But look how massive this is. With this addition, HeartBeam now holds 26 issued patents worldwide, spanning signal acquisition, ECG synthesis algorithms, diagnostic applications, and device hardware across both the HeartBeam system and its investigational on-demand 12-lead batch. Moreover, the new patent reinforces the company's vision and leadership position in delivering patient-centric solutions to advance remote cardiac care. Now, to close this video, here's what I want you to take away from all of this. So first, as we've seen, HeartBeam keeps expanding the potential applications of its technology. The company is adding new sensors, acoustic and impedance sensors to its device, which in turn will allow its technology to go far beyond detecting arrhythmias, ischemia, and heart attacks. So in other words, HeartBeam's device is becoming much more than just an ECG, an electrocardiogram. Its technology is evolving into a broad platform capable of addressing a wide range of cardiovascular conditions. And frankly, because their platform is becoming so broad, right, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future HeartBeam's technology became a new standard in cardiac care. So HeartBeam keeps expanding the potential indications for its technology. And if that continues, I think the demand for HeartBeam's products will explode, will be massive. But anyway, that's everything I wanted to bring to your attention in this video. HeartBeam keeps making progress and it is moving fast. That's it for today, and see you next time.